A Russian court has convicted Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich of espionage. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison. Authorities haven't provided any evidence publicly to show that Gershkovich was a spy. The U.S. government and the Wall Street Journal have said the charges are false. Gershkovich was arrested more than a year ago while on a reporting trip in Russia, and he has been behind bars ever since. The Wall Street Journal's publisher and editor-in-chief put out a statement saying, in part, quote, "We will continue to do everything possible to press for Evan's release and to support his family. Journalism is not a crime, and we will not rest until he's released. This must end now." Let's bring in Mary Ilyushina. She is a reporter for The Washington Post. Thank you for being with us. How did the proceedings play out in court?
Hello. Well, they are behind closed doors, which makes the trial very secretive. We don't really know what the prosecution said, what the defense said. The media was only allowed to take a few pictures of Evan, who now has a shaved head and was in a glass box, and were only let in for the verdict announcement. What is surprising is how swift this trial was, because normally espionage trials in Russia take months, if not years. And the fact that this was over in roughly 3 weeks gives his family and friends very cautious hope that talks between Moscow and Washington regarding a potential prisoner swap have advanced in some way.
Yeah, what are the options right now for the United States? And when the Wall Street Journal says we'll stop at nothing, what are the options on the table?
Well, Putin said repeatedly that he would like to see, well, he rather signaled that he would really like to see Vadim Krasikov released, who is a convicted assassin serving life sentence in Germany, which significantly complicates this potential arrangement because the U.S. would have to persuade Germany to do so. There was reporting done that potentially that previously involved Navalny, Russia releasing Alexei Navalny, the opposition leader who's now died in prison. So it's not exactly clear who could be swapped for Evan Gershkovich. We also obviously know that Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine, is in Russian custody as well as several other Americans and dual citizens. So there is a pretty wide array of prisoners whom U.S., some of them have labeled as wrongfully detained. But so far, we just know that the Russian Foreign Ministry said that the ball is in the U.S. court, that they made an offer to the U.S. and they're waiting for Washington's response to it.
This is the first espionage conviction of an American journalist in Russia since the fall of the Soviet Union. What does that say right now about the relationship between the two countries right now?
Well, they're at a very, very low point. This sentencing and generally Evan's arrest has had a massive chilling effect on foreign media and all media working in Russia. This is part of the hostage diplomacy that Russia has engaged in on several occasions in recent years, detaining specifically American citizens. Obviously, we had a Trevor Reed exchange, Brittany Griner, and now we have more Americans in Russian custody. So this is obviously a power play on Vladimir Putin's side, and the U.S. State Department issued several warnings warning Americans about any travel to Russia because they could be targeted. And we know that President Biden said essentially that Evan was targeted because he is a journalist and an American journalist, and that's why he became a target for the Russian state.
Mary Ilyushina, thanks for joining us. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang joins us now to discuss. Weijia, what is the White House saying about this?
Well, Lindsay, President Biden issued a statement that is very similar to the one that you just read. He said in part that, Evan didn't do anything wrong. He was targeted by the Russian government because he is a journalist and an American. The president goes on to say that his administration is pushing hard for Evan's release and will continue to do that. He also says that he and the First Lady are holding Evan and his family in their prayers. So, Lindsay, the messaging has really been the same since Evan Gershkovich was detained. And the message from the U.S. is that he had done nothing wrong, that he was targeted, and that journalism is not a crime.